Yeah, brand new Village Vice SEC Media Days continues in Dallas. Zach Blackerby is there. Look at him. Just look at him.
Wow.
Swoon. I'm Brad Law. He's Zach. And all right, overall, Zach, how busy day 2 versus day 1? Has it been about the same? Has it been more electric? Does it have to do with who's there or not? But just some general impressions of day 2 at Media Days.
Busier for sure. Busier for sure. And I think the teams that went today are probably more interesting than the teams that went on Monday. I mean, Greg Sankey stole the show on Monday. We talked about that yesterday, Brad. Today it was about Kirby Smart, and it was about Brent Venables. It was all about Georgia and Oklahoma. You walk down a radio row, everybody's talking about Oklahoma. So Oklahoma was definitely the theme here in Dallas today.
Yeah, Taylor Hicks even changed his Feinbaum intro song to make sure Oklahoma and Texas got included in that. Found that out today.
The pandering is real. There's no question.
Sure, pander. Yeah, like we thought about media days in Dallas a few years ago for Texas A&M, but it wasn't until Texas and Oklahoma came into the league that it became a real thing.
Yeah, Sankey said it was for A&M and because there's a lot of SEC alumni. And I'm like, why do alumni matter? It's not like it's a fan fest.
No, there's only one fan base that sends fans, and they ain't alumni, I promise you, to media days. So
tell you what, I saw a bunch of Tennessee Orange downstairs by the elevators.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Didn't know.
Yes.
Right. Take it back then.
Folks with holding helmets with some Sharpies. Yeah. They're ready to go. I hope they got some autographs.
We'll talk Oklahoma here in a bit. I thought it was interesting. One thing that Josh Heupel said over and over again today was talking about the Tennessee brand. And because of the success of basketball and baseball, it's really enhanced the brand of Tennessee football. How much does that happen? How much water do you think that carries nationally? If Rick Barnes and Tony Vitello are doing big things in baseball and basketball, how much does that help Josh Heupel's football program?
I can't imagine that it helps that much. It might help from general funding, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. I think that's a fan service thing of like, hey, we're good at everything.
Yeah.
I mean, Bruce Pearl and Butch Thompson were great at their sports, and we still had Brian Harsin for a year and a half. Like, I can't imagine. I can't imagine that it's that related.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. You weren't seeing back-to-back sellouts. You're not seeing back-to-back sellouts in football season tickets because basketball won an SEC tournament championship and baseball went to Omaha a couple of years ago. I don't know how connected that is. He's right that it helps overall. Fans are not just excited during football season.
Sure.
But I don't know that they play off each other all that much.
Yeah, I don't think so. I didn't hear him say that. That's interesting. But no, I don't think it matters that much.
Auburn plays 3 of the 4 teams at media days today. Tennessee is the only one that it doesn't play. Any takeaways from what Kirby had to say? I will be honest with you, Zach. I have liked what I've heard from Kirby Smart. There are some Pat Dye-esque moments from Kirby over the last few years. One of my favorite media days quotes of the last 10 years or so was after Georgia won the championship, and he answered the question about being the hunted, and he said, "No, we're not the hunted. We're the hunter again. Just because we won last year doesn't mean we're still the hunter." I thought that was really good. Anything in particular from the Georgia head coach today?
Anytime Kirby talks, it's so easy to listen to. He commands a room. I remember his first media days. He just took over the thing. It was impressive, and it hasn't changed. And it's easy to see why he recruits so well, because man, when he talks, I mean, you don't really want him to stop. He answers everything really, really smoothly. So, I mean, even when he was asked about hey, why do Georgia players keep getting in trouble with all these driving incidents? The way he handled that, you could tell that was ready. You could tell he was rehearsed with that. But even then it was smooth. It was oh yeah, okay. It almost made it feel excusable because of the way he answered it. It's not, but you kind of caught yourself thinking of wait, No, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. But yeah, I mean, everything he said was great, but a lot of it is coach speak for sure.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because I had the same feeling. I'm like, all right, yeah. So they institute all these policies and they have speakers and they have classes. And at the end of the day, it is, I mean, you got young men making decisions. At the end of the day, whether you're 25 or 18 or 40 or 50 years old, regardless of all the education and information around you, you do make your own decisions. And I mean, that's coming from a rival point of view. Like you could bury him if you want to, but I don't know. Yeah, we are sort of we're all responsible for our own decisions if the information's available to us.
Yeah, I guess. In the way Michael Bronner of WNSP asked the question, and it was phrased in the, what are you doing about it? And he's like, yeah, we're doing everything we can about it. I'm like, that's probably not true. Like if you've had that many, he's like 22 in the last year and a half or something like that, like you're probably not doing everything you can about it, or that would stop. I mean, with as detailed as he is about everything within his program, it's like, it's weird. It's like the weird one outliers. They can't, control themselves behind the wheel of a car. It's very, very strange.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm trying to fight off the urge to be cynical because it is all that's been reported. But there is that part of me that's like, is there really? That's all there is? Does it make logical sense that that's all there is? Or do we just not hear about other stuff? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And he made the case that, he's dismissed players because of, some of the stuff that's happened with vehicles. I'm like, okay, all right. And then he said, like, other places aren't doing that. I'm like, I don't know if that's true or not. Genuinely don't know. But
sounds good in a soundbite, though. That when
everything he says sounds good in the soundbite. There's no question. Yeah.
When people aren't going to do a deep dive to fact check it and so on and so forth.
Right.
I bet if everybody got kicked off, and this, I mean, fill in the blank with whatever infraction. If everybody got kicked off the team for a particular infraction, chances are that the number of instances would go down. But I'm not saying you can afford to, you're not going to start seeing 20 guys get kicked off.
You treat guys differently. No question.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Oklahoma, who's getting treated differently? Who's playing? Who's not playing? Who's available and who's not? What did Brent Venables have to say? We'll talk about it after I tell you about Roback. Our friends at Roback give you some appropriately priced, absolutely absurdly comfortable gear. It looks great, feels great. We're talking polos, whether you're one for a, wildly unique polo print or just standard looking polos. You're going to feel great on the golf course. You're going to feel great in the office. You're going to feel great anywhere that you are with these polos. They also have hoodies and quarter zips and much, much more. And if you're a villager, if you're a Village Vice viewer, a triple V, go to roback.com, use our promo code VICE20, VICE20, and you'll get 20% off. Use that promo code at checkout and take advantage of what our friends at Roback are offering. You'll thank us for it. So Brent Venables talked today. He gave some updates on some players that were missing for spring and a couple more that could be missing for a good chunk of the summer and into fall. But more than that, Zach, it was just his debut, his Oklahoma introduction at SEC Media Days. What'd you think of the Oklahoma coach?
I haven't seen enough of him to know if he looked uncomfortable, if he's just maybe not super comfortable in that setting in general. I don't know, but he didn't look as comfortable as the other coaches that we typically see at SEC Media Days. But there's a lot of pressure on him. There's a lot of pressure on him for sure. He's done a great job of messaging of we're just as much of an asset as Texas, which of course he has to do. He's the Oklahoma coach. He also at the same time downplays everything that Texas has to do. So in the main media room, the first three questions everybody gets asked is about Texas, and Oklahoma was no exception. It's they're asking Brian Kelly, you get to play Texas. How lucky are you? And it's just what's going on? So Venables is asked about it, and he's like, the Red River rivalry is great, whatever, but I'm paraphrasing here, but there's, we've got to go on the road and play a team that's got, all of the tradition and all of these things that's tough to play right before Texas. Didn't say Auburn by name, but that's who he's talking about. They don't go anywhere else on the road.
Right.
So I thought that was cool that it's yes, the Red River rivalry is important, obviously, if you're Oklahoma, but we've got a good team that we've got to face on the road. And so I thought he kind of gave Auburn their flowers there.
What's the second best Big 12 football rivalry? What is the best Big 12 football rivalry now? I mean, if
I don't know.
My point in asking that is the Red River rivalry now becomes another good game on an SEC schedule.
Wow, I think that's a little drastic.
Well, no,
hang on. A little drastic.
No, but hang on. Okay. All right. Florida, Georgia, LSU, Alabama, the Iron Bowl, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, Texas A&M, the Egg Bowl.
I'll say the Egg Bowl might be the second best one. Yeah.
Yeah. Where does that game fall in that group that we just listed? It's not head and shoulders above many. You might rank it ahead of some of those, but you're not going to rank it head and shoulders among others.
I think the timing of which it plays definitely hinders it because there's less on the line. And I also think the nature of the expanded playoff and the timing of them coming into the league and all that, it's not going to feel like a playoff game, I don't think. So I'm actually coming around to your take just now. It seemed drastic, but you've sold me. You didn't really have to say that much.
I didn't even mention Auburn, Georgia. I mean,
you didn't mention Bama, Tennessee. I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Or Florida, LSU is a decent rivalry throughout the years. So
I'm not really buying anything Florida related right now, but I get it.
Yeah. No, yeah. Now, some of that is the success of the program and how big these games are or not. And yet somehow the Egg Bowl keeps its tradition, no matter how average or not average the teams have been throughout the year. I know Ole Miss is sitting in a good spot now, but throughout the year.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that Coach Venables updated a few players that were hurt or injured, and their center, Troy Everett. All right, we don't get down in the weeds too much, certainly this far out often, but he mentioned that their center/guard, Troy Everett, missed most of the spring with a knee injury. It would cause him to miss the summer, might even cost him a sizable portion of training camp. So if you're talking about how things affect Auburn, and I know that game's several weeks into the season, but it's already an offensive line that has been well documented, has to be rebuilt.
All five
got a couple of injuries there.
Yep. Right. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the weakness of this roster, we think, and there's a chance they all turn out and they're great. I mean, we don't know, but it's a big question mark. I mean, you don't really typically see folks replace an entire offensive line and a quarterback and then they come out swinging. You just don't see it. Not that it's impossible. You just don't see it. I had a nice conversation with Jay Smith. He's one of the hosts of Locked On Sooners. We talked specifically about that. He's like, yeah, I mean, the skill positions are solid, but that's a concern. We feel good about Jackson Arnold, but, the offensive line is a concern. There's no question about it. And then they're returning like 86% of their defense. When you look at the production from a year ago, like that's going to be a good defense, Brad. It's going to be a good defense. So to me, it's going to be a situation where it's like, can Auburn just get a few scoring drives early and put the pressure on Oklahoma and have Jordan-Hare Stadium rocking on that fifth game of the season? So important. So important to get a fast start in that one.
Would you rather have Auburn's offensive line and Oklahoma's skill position players or Oklahoma's offensive line and Auburn's skill players?
I'd rather have Auburn's offensive line and Oklahoma's skill position players.
Got it. Okay. And I think that's not a knock on Auburn's skill position players. It's the offensive line's in better position, and it's a more important spot.
It's proof. I mean, look at what Oklahoma's offense is, I think, more proven than Auburn's is right now. And I think Auburn's offensive line is more proven than Oklahoma's. So, yeah, that's an easy one for me.
All right, very good. You know what else is easy?
Hanging out at my bookie. Bookie, they've got everything you need from an incredible sports book with odds, props, lines, parlays. They've got a parlay center there just so you can parlay it up. But also, they've got this virtual casino. You don't have to go to the casino with the boys anymore. You can just stay home. The wife was way more okay with that than you go into the casino anyway. Yeah. But seriously, you can do it from your laptop, your desktop, your phone. They've got a great mobile site as well. But when you make that first deposit, use promo code next round. It's at mybookie.ag. Use promo code next round. You get some VIP perks to play with, as well as some extra money to play with as well. Promo code next round at mybookie.ag.
Less interested, more interested, or just as disinterested as you thought you'd be with Missouri coach Eli Drinkwitz today? Because you were not excited at all to hear him before media days.
Yeah. It's just so weird. Like, it doesn't feel like they're a college football playoff contender, but they are. They absolutely are. And I was kind of talking about how easy their schedule is, and then I pulled it up, and it's a little more difficult than I thought it was. They've got a stretch of like 3 games there kind of towards the end of their schedule, and Auburn's part of it, where I think it gets a little tougher. They go to Tuscaloosa, and then they play Oklahoma, which I'm higher on Missouri than Oklahoma right now.
Yeah.
But that's towards the end of the season. We'll see how they develop. But yeah, Missouri, it's so funny. They're probably going to be in the CFP discussion in November, and there's just no buzz.
And it was interesting to me. Now, I didn't watch Eli's full, remarks.
I didn't either. He may be going now, actually.
But I did see a portion of it. And obviously he's getting questions about being a playoff contender because it was just a bizarre like he's all right. He's going to be that guy. They play Murray State in their opener.
Sure.
And I completely get coaches say, well, game 1's the most important game. That's where our focus should be. Oh, right. All right. Come on. We've all been watching for a long time. But his answer was, and I'm not paraphrasing much, was, there's all kind of scenarios out there and there's all kind of changes that can happen. All we know for certain is that game 1, we play Murray State. Come on. That's not the Eli Drinkwitz of the last couple of years where he's tried to be the witty microphone man and win media days. That was a little vanilla for him relative to the last couple of years, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's tired of just getting roasted on the internet. Who knows? But I don't know, man. Like, looking at their schedule, it's just bizarre to me that a college football playoff hopeful is traveling to Amherst to play UMass.
Yeah.
Like,
there's got to be a story behind that.
I just can't get over it.
Yeah.
Every time, I'm shocked every time I go through their schedule and see it. I'm never ready for it, Brad.
It is. Don't you think it's the easiest schedule in the SEC?
I'd have to look at Texas's again.
Okay. Texas has to go to Ann Arbor, out of conference. I mean, full 12-game schedule, not just the league run. Because Texas's league schedule
A&M's is pretty easy too, right?
Other than Notre Dame at home to open the season, that's sort of a. I think those are separators when you look at the non-conference schedule.
Sure.
Missouri's is Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College, and UMass. And then their conference schedule, they host Vandy, they go to Texas A&M, they host Auburn, they go to Alabama, they host Oklahoma, they go to South Carolina, they go to Mississippi State, and they host Arkansas.
Yeah.
Whew. Like, if you don't win 10, something's gone wrong.
Sure.
So, all right. Other than Missouri, I can tell let me tell you, the needle is being pushed tremendously by Missouri talk. What else has stood out?
I almost fell asleep. Sorry, villagers. Blame Brad, not me. He brought it up.
No, I'm going to move away from that very quickly. All right. Anything else today expected? Is it nice and calm? What are you looking forward to tomorrow the most?
Tomorrow is Alabama Day, right? Yeah. So I imagine it'll be all about Kalen DeBoer, which I'm sure you can't wait for.
Can't wait. My goodness. He's the next Nick Saban.
He's recruiting like him.
Here's my no, look, they've recruited well. And I think because, like, when we did our Bama's Burning episode way back right after the retirement, I said that for them to succeed, they couldn't, like, what they would have to do is move away from the head coach being the identity of the school. They need the name, they need the brand, they need the school to be the school's identity. And I think they've done that. We also predicted that their giving would go way up. because the name recognition of the head coach wasn't going to get them, as far as it had previously.
Yeah.
And their people have responded. And so, sure, they're recruiting well right now. So, which begs the question, and I'm going to be careful the way that I phrase this. If the next guy can come in and do it just as well as the last guy, was the last guy really the best to do it?
I think you're asking that question a few months too early, but I've had that conversation with some folks as well. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, if DeBoer comes in and kills it, the narrative that they will try to push is, well, Saban was so great that he put him in a situation where his successor was going to be able to do it, which folks with a brain are like, hold on now. But yeah, I think there's a chance if DeBoer comes in and does the same thing, I do think it will hurt Saban's legacy 100%.
Yeah. Interesting. At least outside the state. Inside the state, there's a faction that'll, they're going to, you ain't changing minds, but yeah, probably nationally. You're right. Okay.
Brad, I think that about does it for today's show.
It does. Thanks everybody for watching, for commenting, for subscribing. If you haven't yet, we appreciate that. And remember, until next time, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.